The D&H Canal, the Delaware and Hudson Canal, is a National Historic Landmark which passes through Orange County. It stretched from over 100 miles from Honesdale, Pennsylvania to Kingston, New York, where it emptied into the Hudson River. And it operated for 70 years from 1828 to 1898. The primary cargo which was transported was coal, which originated in the coal mines near Scranton, Pennsylvania, including one owned by the Wirtz brothers, and was transported to New York City, which needed this coal to enter into the Industrial Revolution. This was even considered a measure of national security, given that the British had blocked coal imports during the War of 1812. This coal was transported to that town of Honesdale, seen here during a Memorial Day parade. It was named after the first president of the canal, Hones. Transporting the coal to Honesdale was the nation's first locomotive to run on a railway bed, the Stourbridge Lion. And so locomotives got their start in connection with the D&H Canal in the United States. From Honesdale, a canal would then carry barges to the Delaware River, and from the Delaware to Port Jervis, and from Port Jervis through Orange and Ulster counties towards Kingston, New York, where the cargoes could be transported on to ships which would traverse the Hudson River, either northwards to Albany or southwards to New York City. The canal took more than 2,000 laborers to dig with shovels, pickaxes, and blasting powder, using animals to pull away dirt and rock, and it took about 3 years to complete. The canal followed the Lackawaxen River from Honesdale to the Delaware River, and crossed the Lackawaxen near the Zane Grey House, the author who lived actually on the grounds of what is now Orange County Community College during the winter, and who lived in a summer house along the Delaware here. Originally, barges would actually cross the Delaware River, but this could be hazardous, especially since loggers transported logs to Philadelphia simply by floating them down the Delaware at this time. And so later, the Roebling Bridge actually allowed barges to cross over the Delaware River, designed by John Roebling, whose experience here helped him as he designed the Brooklyn Bridge years later. Having crossed the Delaware River, the canal followed the path of the Delaware until Port Jervis. Sections of the trail are still walkable along the towpath, where mules pulled the barges through the canal. Port Jervis is one of many areas in Orange County named for this canal. First of all, it was a port, meaning that this is where goods could be, taken on or off these barges, later using railroads as well. But then also it was named for one of the engineers of the canal, who would also help as an engineer of the developing railroad system, named Jervis. From Port Jervis, the canal then traversed Orange County, and there is a museum where the canal bed crossed over the Neversink River on an aqueduct, where one can hike a portion of the canal. And also, for a number of years, replicas of barges were available, even for tourists to have a brief ride in. Around Port Orange Road, the canal then leaves Orange County and enters Sullivan County, heading towards Wirtsboro, which was named for the Wirtz brothers, who were the primary owners of the canal. and then towards Summitville, which has the name Summitville because it was here that there was a peak in elevation where water going in one direction flowed westward towards the Delaware, but from this point on, water flowed in the other direction, eastward towards the Hudson River. It would take about a week to go from Honesdale to the Hudson River, traveling about 20 miles a day. Very often, entire families would travel on barges together with children pulling the pack mules, which were pulling the barges. Although the D&H Canal was enormously successful, the expansion of railroads would ultimately lead to the decline and then the end of the canal's operation by 1898.